Welcome to the Revolution of Being podcast. Here we get raw, deep, real, and discuss all things high-level spirituality, healing, money, and business. Together, we're going to be interviewing industry experts and bringing you wisdom and insights from our personal journeys and others with whom you can learn from. Collapse time as you evolve and enjoy the ride. All right, today we're jumping right in on how manifestation is the gateway drug to spirituality. So we know in the new age spiritual space, everybody is a manifesting expert. Everybody has an idea on how to manifest your best life or has 10,000 tips on how to do this or why it's not working for you. But we want to really dive in even deeper today on how manifestation actually is just the beginning of your spiritual journey.
Yeah, what a buzzword. Everybody wants to manifest, right? We all want to manifest everything. It is the gateway to a lot of spirituality. And really quick, I want to touch on the word new age because there's a lot of concepts around that too. Manifestation, new age. I want to clear the air. This is not new age stuff. So we are not talking about new age woo-woo stuff. We are talking about the universal law of attraction here. And we live in a world that has light and dark. And so our lesson as we evolve should always be, what is our greater contribution? So as we're dipping our toes in the manifestation energy, because it is a gateway. That's what people are appealed to, the materialistic world. We want to bring in a higher thought vibration of our dharma. What are we contributing? What are we bringing? What are we giving back?
Yeah, and it's such a good point too. When I say new age, spirituality can become really dogmatic. A lot of spiritualists like to believe that, oh, we're the ones that think outside the box and, have this high level thinking. But in reality, we can like box ourselves in to these ways in which we make it religious. And manifestation is that, for a lot of people where they suddenly have figured out, or been able to manifest a few times. And then it's like this incredible experience. And now they want to manifest bigger and better and greater. Yet, as you said, what's the bigger purpose? What are we actually contributing to society? I know plenty of people that want to manifest, $1 million and never work again. Well, we're not here to not energetically contribute to each other as a society. We are here to create. We are here to be in reciprocity of each other. And so, I really want to dive in deeper to, cool, you've understood, you read The Secret, back in the day, or you watched it. What the bleep do we know, right? Like all these like, kind of new ideas that really are as old as you said, but new concepts to many people that are on a spiritual path. And even outside of the spiritual path, just many people in general. Like it's this bright, flashy thing where we get like sucked in to, I want to manifest a yacht. Okay, cool. And then what? Like, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to use it to like help people somehow? Not that everything has to be with, unselfish intentions. But what I see a lot is people get really caught up in that energy of, I just want to manifest, 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 and not so much the higher purpose of why we're here and that deeper work, that goes into really the self-actualization journey. We can call it spiritual, but it's really like understanding who we are at the end of the day. And you can't really tease it apart from spiritual, from science, from, quantum physics and neuropsychology. Like this is all intertwined.
Yeah, this is the human experience, right? So it goes way beyond any dogma and it just hits the heart of what every human being's going to experience. And so here's the raw truth. We're all manifesting 100% of the time. That's the truth. So we're already doing it. Welcome to your gateway drug. Congratulations. You passed the first marker. The second part is the glorifying of it. I remember when the book The Secret came out and then the movie came out and it became kind of a cult culture. It had its own following and a lot of people that I actually was surprised by were kind of dabbling into that whole idea. And I remember I had worked with a coach along the way who is brilliant, but also really wanted to utilize the art of manifestation for her clients, and I was one of them. But it was a lot of at one point I was writing a lot. Like I was writing about I am making X amount of dollars, I am, or whatever it is. And there was something internal within me that knew that number one wasn't attached to belief. Number two, I didn't really have an idea as to why, right? It was just a number. It wasn't so much about what value that was going to help me bring back to anybody. I have so much more of a vision of that now, but back then I didn't have that. And so that's why this topic is so important because, we're here to help the collective raise their conscious vibration and their consciousness. And that means that we are not just in service to ourselves, but we
Mhm.
are in service to humanity.
And you hit the nail on the head, and I want to back up just a moment. We are constantly manifesting. So that negative relationship that didn't feel so great, that's a manifestation of something internal. And I think there's this idea that manifestation is only like this positive thing. And we are, and this can go into some places where, sometimes I my head kind of struggles to understand some of it, but a lot of people will say, well, I didn't manifest that terrible thing to happen to me. I didn't manifest having cancer. However, when we talk about energy, everything being energy, you can look at different literatures that tie in our emotions to our physical body, and how these things can happen, but also within those experiences, what beautiful things were gained, right? Because even in tragedy, we can have these lessons, these things that support us in our growth that maybe we don't understand, in the meantime, and then even higher level. This goes, and maybe it kind of stretches some beliefs here, but we talk about life contracts. What did we on the other side determine we wanted to have our life contract be? And that might have been a significant loss or some kind of illness that we didn't air quote manifest, but we had a part in co-creating. And so, manifestation is again kind of a blanket term for seen as good, manifesting good, but it really is that we are constantly in co-creation with our universe, with our surroundings, with the relationships we bring in, everything. And so people do get kind of caught on this like shiny object syndrome that I can do this and oh my God, I manifested $1,000. Awesome. And again, higher level, what are you going to do to contribute to society with this new thing that you're learning? Because this is only the beginning of that growth process. And as you grow and evolve, I'm not going to say manifestation doesn't matter as much, but you become less attached to the outcome and you just kind of are in a state of flow more consistently where you're not necessarily having to focus on this so hard. You're just kind of in a different level.
Yeah. And we talked about this in other podcasts as well. The manifestation, it can be physical, material, mental, scenario. There's all these ways that it can play out. But as you evolve within yourself, as you grow, you manifesting the yacht or the $1 million, fine. Energy affecting matter. We got that. But a lot of people still feel a giant hole within them because they're not done working on really what their soul's purpose is here. And
Mm.
that is the discovery. So, yeah, manifestation is great, right? Who wouldn't want to cruise around on a beautiful ocean in their uber $1 million yacht or whatever it is? But at the end of the day, is that going to give you a deep sense of fulfillment and purpose? And that's why it's like a gateway drug. It can work in your favor, even if it's just short time, but just like anything, like alcohol can work in your favor for a short time. But the latter half of it might not be for your higher good. And that's what this is really about, because like we talked about, the more we heal ourselves, the more we greater impact the collective. And that's why we're thinking about what is the reciprocity between the two.
Yeah, absolutely. And how many times do you hear stories of people that are incredibly successful who, are living so sad. They feel so void of any joy in their life. But on the outside, they have all the material success, right? And we talked earlier today before this podcast about even just this idea of a midlife crisis, right? It's that point where like, okay, I've made it. Like I have money, I have a great retirement, my house, was paid off, whatever it is. And yet you're like, okay, but I'm no happier than I was. And it's almost like you're kind of bankrupt inside. And that really is this like knowledge of like it's nice to have the creature comforts, absolutely. And you can have those things. And it's lovely to have those things, but also this expectation that you're attaching your happiness and contentment to that is where things go a little sideways. And where people, are like, well, I thought, I created this multi-million-dollar business, and there's so many stories of that. And people are like, and I hated it and I burnt it to the ground because I wasn't any happier. And then they got in alignment, and it's like you're in alignment with your purpose, you're unattached, the money flows effortlessly. And that's something I really talk to people about who are newer business owners is, alignment allows that to flow for you. You don't have to work so hard to manifest. You're in alignment, and then as a byproduct of being in alignment, being of service, you are compensated. And the level of that, equates to the level of service you provide. If you're making a massive impact, you're going to have massive compensation. If you're making a smaller impact, that may not be a massive source of income for you or energetically, exchanging back a large amount of money. So it really comes down to, we talked about in last episode, identity, so being the identity of the thing that you want, like that's the manifestation, but it's also bigger than that. Like, who do you want to be in terms of impact on this planet? How do you want to show up? How do you want to influence people and positively change those around you, or positively impact, I should say?
Right. It's been an interesting journey for me since 2019. I started my business then, didn't really know what it would look like. And then we had this global pandemic. But there was a keynote that I did prior to the world doing what the world did. And it was so timely now that I kind of put everything into its place, hindsight. It was called Purpose Over Passion.
Mhm.
And this is exactly what you were just talking about. And the way I talked about it was purpose is like the deep root of a tree, and it is going to withstand the wind. It's going to withstand the storms and the winters and all these things. It's got its roots so deep in the ground that it's what pulls you forward through discomfort. This is this is finding that purpose, right? This is just a deep thing. But we've been taught as a society to chase our passions. And this is where we get into that whole gateway with manifestation. And here's the thing about passion, though. Passion is an emotion, and it's fleeting. It's kind of
Mhm.
like if you think about when you're in high school and you get this wild crush on someone, and you just, everything about them is amazing, and you're really attached to that. And then it ends, or you just stop one day and there's a new shiny object. There wasn't the deeper meaning. And this is kind of that same thing. And so it's not that there's anything bad, like, cool, you can manifest anything you want. But
Mhm.
just know, as we've spoken about before, that until we get those roots really established, and however that looks for you in that purpose, you're probably going to keep losing things you're attached to. You're probably going to continue to have that lesson to pull you back to your purpose, because those roots cannot get deeper unless it dries up a bit. That's what pushes roots deeper. It's a lack of. If you go to vineyards, wines, certain wines get better flavor because they starve the plant of some of its water, and it pushes its roots deeper.
Mhm.
So we actually get better through the loss. And that's why we say it's a gateway drug, because it can be very misleading for people, and they're attached. And then when they lose everything, like somebody wins the lottery. I mean,
Mhm.
most people that win the lottery end up dead. Right? They can manifest the millions, and then they go nuts with it because there were no roots in that tree.
Yeah, they end up broke and yeah, not in great places. And there's a ton of science. And you've changed the external, but you haven't changed the internal environment. And that's prevalent in the NFL. I mean, so many football players come from very challenging backgrounds, make a crap ton of money, don't know how to manage it, or trust people who don't manage it properly, and then they're even worse off than they were before. And, it's really about doing that internal work that allows all of this to be so much more valuable, and one of the things, and this is just an aside, but I think of value to note is, as we've experienced with our own journeys on calling in new realities or just kind of wanting to be more aligned, is usually before a manifestation comes through, my world blows up. Like shit hits the fan and I'm like, oh my God. It has happened enough times that I kind of think of it as the contraction before the expansion, that it feels like things are falling down, but things need to break apart to be rebuilt. It's a whole new structure that's being created. And so, also acknowledging like I am willing to allow whatever to fall away that no longer serves me, to have that which is in the best interest. When we talk about like, I want that or something better, because sometimes what I envision for myself is not the best outcome for me, like I don't know all the working pieces of the universe. And so sometimes it's like, all right, like I trust you, like this is kind of the vision of what I have. Now I'd love that or something better. And really surrendering to sometimes the outcome of how it comes your way, like abundance, a lot of people talk about abundance. Well, that can mean an abundance of health, an abundance of relationships, an abundance of resources to have different things or time. Um, and it's like, well, money is just a tool, it's all it is. And we get really emotionally attached to money. But really, what does it get you? What are you looking for that it gets you? For me, family is huge. Like I want time with my family and I want to have, some of the things that allow me to show up even more present with them. And money is a resource that can allow me to have the time to do that in a way I couldn't when I was still working as a nurse. So it's kind of looking again at what does it give you? Because your desires aren't wrong. Like we're here to create and to have desires. They're not bad. It's not a sin to want nice things. But again, what's the bigger why?
Yeah. What's the bigger why? And again, if you have an attachment to something, that's going to be a really hard path to go down. And you will find a reward in it if you go down it, right? You win and lose enough, you'll surrender.
Mhm.
Eventually, you'll surrender. And usually that is when the breakthrough happens, when the breakdown happens. But with manifestation and using that as kind of the intro, it is a bit of a slippery slope, right? Like manifest your dreams, get all your desires, make everything happen. But again, if your real goal is to find a way to bring more of your purpose to the greater of humanity, then really do that discovery as to why you want that manifested. And then you have to really be able to surrender to the timing, the how. You might say, well, having unlimited financial resources is going to allow me to travel the world, visit other cultures, bring this knowledge to people, whatever it is. But also know that the timing of that might be 10 years
Mhm.
because there might have to be this entire skill set that you have to learn. And
Mhm.
so this is where you say, you can't Amazon Prime this shit.
Mhm.
Well, let's just be honest. A lot of us think we can. And
Mhm.
and we're like, well, I gave it a week, or it's been a month, or it's been a year, and I'm still here. I really encourage people to time capsule.
Mhm.
If you're really serious about it, if you want to get into the world of manifestation and you want to do it with that whole intention of, I'm raising myself, I'm raising humanity, I'm giving back, then start that process and time capsule. Where am I at today? And
Mhm.
what is my greater outcome of this? What am I aiming for? Don't be concerned about the how, right? Do the next best thing for yourself and that, which might just be I'm going to meditate every day, or I'm going to shift my bad thoughts, whatever it is. And then in 6 months, I challenge you to check in with yourself. You might not have your goal met, but who are you now? Because you and I both went on this journey,
Mhm.
right? We both comment about how much we've changed in the last year. Look at everything we're manifesting. This is why this conversation needs to happen because I'm so sick of that quick fast food culture.
Yes.
Shatters people's dreams.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
really, we're not as a society, we are conditioned to very quick fixes. And to anybody on a growth path, There is no shortcutting. You cannot bypass the process you have to go to. And part of it is, I will just use an example of you have a $100,000 business, and you want to have a $10,000 business. The identity of those two people are drastically different. To be able to withstand what you're probably going to deal with at a $10 million range is not the same you're going to have at a $100,000 range. That's not to say you as a person is different, but the beliefs, what you think is possible, how you handle stress needs to be calibrated. And so, in that time from when you first set your intention to when it actually comes to fruition, you are doing a shit ton of growth. And that's all in preparation because you would be crushed under the weight of that if you had it right now. So it's also trusting, like I have lofty dreams, and you and I both do. We have giant visionary dreams of the changes we're going to create. And that's also like we're growing into those identities. We are shifting and being challenged in new ways. And I will say, being challenged in new ways. Again, the universe doesn't test us, it reflects us. So it's like, all right, girls, you want to do this now? Here's a new little roadblock for you to navigate. How are you going to show up? And every time we do, we learn something new, we gain more resilience. And what a tremendous blessing that is, right? Because again, we would be crushed under the weight, just like someone who created, $3 million lottery win. That, if you're used to bringing in 50 grand a year, will crush you. Like you will have no idea what to do with that. And it'll be a terrible experience. Sorry, but it will. And you might be like, but I would love it. I'm sure you would for a moment, and then it's gone. And then you're like, oh shit, what happened? Like,
Right.
oh,
Right. And you end up worse than you started in a sense, right? You have to go backwards to go forward again. And that's just the way the universe is going to show up to give you the lesson. It's not good or bad. There's nothing good or bad about it. It's just what path do you want to take? Really figure that part out because yeah, one of them is going to probably end up being very frustrating. The other one's just going to be hard.
yeah. And I
And you're going to
think
have to crawl.
absolutely. And I think one other thing too, and I've made this, it's not a mistake. I've done this. I am a multi-passionate person. I have a lot of different visions, a lot of things I want to work on and attain and do. And part of that is in that energy, I am like putting out 10,000 like orders to the universe and then changing my mind and like scrambling the orders. And they're like, what the hell does this girl want? So part of it is also, having a few focus points, like literally have like a career focus point, a health focus point, like a family or relationship, like just do a couple lanes and laser focus in on those and really have them be what you put your energy into with the outcome. Otherwise, you're going to just be shooting off all these different things and nothing is ever going to happen. You're going to be tire spinning so long. And you and I know the energy of laser focus. Like when we are in the zone and focus, things happen so fast. When I'm all over the place, oh, I want to do this thing, I want to try this, I want to take this class, I want to start this part of my business, I don't accomplish anything. I don't. I don't have the energy, and I'm also not putting out the proper signals to the universe. Like, this is what I want to create. They're like, we'll give you a little bit of here, a little bit over here, but it's like nothing actually comes to fruition. It's just like little nuggets. So,
Yeah, I think it's a miracle that you and I ended up, doing this kind of stuff together because we're both a multi-passionate people in the world and talk about reflection, right? We're getting back what we reflect. And in this scenario, we both recognize it. We're like, okay, how do we use this? How do we tame it? How do we become more aware of it and play within that arena? But that's manifestation too. We wanted to manifest some big things. And so the universe was like, cool, let's connect you guys, let it go crazy, and then
hmm,
let you learn that lesson of how do we get narrow and how do we hone in. And that's the brilliance of it. We cannot fool the intelligence of
mhm,
universal law and God, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to attach it to, it's very consistent in the way it shows up. And, it's our job to learn how to speak the language and then, to find that human side of it of what is our greater purpose here.
yeah. And it comes in time. I think a lot of people feel really stuck. A lot of questions I get from clients are, I don't know what I'm meant to do here. I don't know my purpose. Here's the thing, you're getting little nuggets of information, little just kind of breadcrumbs every step of the way. And, I don't think it was until recently that you and I were like, this is what feels so aligned. And it's some projects we're working on, but we can look back and see how every step of our journey was leading to this point. And once again, you can't bypass that. There are times where you feel like your tire's spinning and the energy you're kind of being held into or like, guided into is just, hey, for now, this is where we're at, and that's okay. Um, and action creates clarity. So had I quit a few years ago and gone back to healthcare, my life would be drastically different. But I leaned into the discomfort continually, saying, I have no idea what's next. And that was where I was. I knew hypnotherapy was a part of what I was meant to support people with, but it wasn't the end all. But I stayed in that frequency of discomfort, that kind of angst I was feeling. And then along the way, all these little things kept happening, where it's like, all right, like the carrot's being dangled, like, all right, girl, keep going. You've got this. Like, here's a little piece of chocolate to make you happy. Like, keep going. You're doing a good job. Like, and you have to kind of hold through that discomfort because it's really uncomfortable. But that's the work too. We are in a sense kind of showing our commitment to our path. How much discomfort are you willing to handle? And I really think, your success is equivalent to the amount of discomfort you're willing to go through.
Mhm. Yeah, they play with each other, definitely. And at time, I'm somebody who is very attached to time. I fully recognize that. I always feel there's not enough time, time's going too fast. I need it faster. I'm not a very, patient person, I guess you could say. But time is also a human construct,
Mhm,
right? And so in the universe, there is no such thing as time.
mhm,
And so, in that, if we let go to the attachment to time, we probably are going to get places sooner,
mhm.
right? In a sense, because we're not going to be attached to the time, though. So, again, it's perception. But I think a big thing for people is they want it faster. And so, just knowing that manifestation, it's not that it can't happen immediately, it can. However, a lot of us are too attached to time to even allow that.
Yeah, and how, you had said in another podcast episode, the journey is the destination, and it's like, how can we enjoy what we're doing now and really embody a sense of gratitude in the present moment? Because again, we have this idea that once I have this thing, I'm going to be this different person. And that's such a fallacy. The person that you are now is the same person who's going to have the multi-million-dollar business. You're just going to have some different skill sets. And so thinking somehow like that future outcome is going to give you a different set of emotions or peace of mind that you don't have is just inaccurate, and it's going to again trip you up. So how right now can you embody joy? Can you embody gratitude? Can you put your order into the universe and it's getting taken care of? Just like you drove to Starbucks to get your coffee, you place your order and you're like, cool, they have my latte coming, no big deal. And you just chill and wait. You still kind of take aligned action, you hold your vision as it's already done, and enjoy the ride.
That's right. That's right. You got to be it to see it, right? That's the
Yeah.
idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is such a great topic. And, don't get us wrong, we love manifestation. It's absolutely powerful and amazing. And energy is a language, all of it in itself, but it does have its appropriate place. And I think that is important to know too.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, this was a great episode. Let us know if you have any questions, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.